All of this pain is never gonna go. Stronger than ever, like milk in the bones. Tearing this down, they think we gon' go. Left us for dead, left us on our own. Through all this shit, we still gon' grow. Counted this out, but they don't know. We the people standing together, yeah, you know we on. We the people standing together, yeah, you know we on. They been shooting blind, they can't see I'm chosen, I'm divine. I'm one of a kind, I can do whatever but waste time. I take them from blind, ain't no limitations in my mind. I get paid to rhyme, make all of my S's dollar signs. They want war, they dying, but I keep it positive. I'm trying, but don't cross that line. I can push a button and blow your mind. Oh, they think they slime? I can skin you snakes one at a time. Oh, they think they grind? Me and JB working overtime. No more committing crimes, talking like you dead, but you ain't this. I can really hit. They left us for dead, came back with hits and some brand new kicks. Stronger than ever, counting cheddar. They took everything, but now it's rich forever on the head of Ringo. All of this pain is never gonna go. Stronger than ever, like milk in the bones. Tearing this down, they think we gon' go. Left us for dead, left us on our own. Through all this shit, we still gon' grow. Counted this out, but they don't know. We the people standing together, yeah, you know we on. We the people standing together, yeah, you know we on.
In spite of it all, choosing elect family, we the people are still standing together, and you know exactly what we are on. We are back on another journey to truth and life, where we utilize the power of truth to be set free from the chains of manipulation and dark psychological deception. And that is the state of the world right now, not just here in America, but across the world. We are dealing with mass deception, if you will. Want to introduce myself. I go by the name of MTAC. Of course, that is an acronym that stands for More Than a Conqueror. But my real name is Casey Owens, Case Owens for short. And I am a victim of the United States tyrannical behavior of chaos. I was placed on a COINTELPRO character assassination list by the Pentagon just over a decade ago. And since then, my life have been tumultuous following the events of 9/11 and the changes that transpired in our social political construct. Many of the law-abiding citizens like myself became victims of this tyrannical, Stasi, Nazi reflective new states of America. And I see we do have guests in the building. Uniquely Made Warrior is in the building saying shalom. Shalom, my sister. The queen is in the building. You guys give her a round of applause. She, like myself, is also a victim of the chaos that is ongoing ensuing here in the United States of America. And it's all by design. The chaos is manufactured, and there are indeed people who have puppet mastered what we are experiencing in the social construct of things. Now, I don't want to get sidetracked into my personal testimony, which you guys, whose faithful followers, should know by now how they've done me. I've been gang stalked. That's when community groups through social so-called national security media networks, example, the Risk Out or the Regional Information Sharing app is given notifications, whether it be in your communities, in religious organizations, workplaces, etc., about you being a person of entrance, whether that be through mental health and occupational safety laws, national terroristic threat laws, or some other means of community safety protocols. They are given these notifications, and with the Department of, in conjunction with the fusion centers, the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, National Security Agency, CIA, Department of Defense, Department of Justice, of course, which is absolutely corrupt at this point. Just one moment, you guys, because I am being disrupted by someone who wants a lot of attention, but is going to go outside yet again. Come on. And there he goes. Have all the fun you can muster up in the length of this video, Rocky, because I have a message for the people, and I will not allow anyone to distract me, not even my beloved dog. So yeah, old Rocky, man, I'm telling you, the older he's getting, the more personality he is starting to show, and so forth. And sometimes it's a good thing because he brings life to the party, and then sometimes it's a bad thing because he don't know when to stop partying. If I could just trade places with that carefree life that he have, I don't know, I just might consider it from time to time. But like I was mentioning, there are people that architect the chaos, the social chaos that we are experiencing, having our lives ripped apart, having our families manipulated and drawn into participating, our communities drawn into participating, our workplaces and other social sectors participating in the design psychopathy is a product of architects, masonic, demonic, dark psychology working architects, and we should identify who's behind the scene. Of course, it's Satan and his seed, and the scriptures warns us of this. It talks about the fallen angels which slept with the daughters of men or the human women and bore hybrid offsprings, and their offsprings would be handed rulership of the world. And it says, I'll go to the scriptures real quick, but we'll allow this to flow. One of these scriptures, since it just opened to the book of Psalms, I'll go to Psalms 49, the offspring of the fallen. I'm just going to start at verse 5 and read a couple of scriptures, and then I'll go to Job. It says, wherefore should I fear in the days of evil? These are the days of evil, the days of chaos that we are experiencing. When the iniquity of my heels shall compass about me, or gangstalk me, surround me. I'm surrounded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether on my job, in my communities, at the grocery stores, whether I'm on the phone. My phone calls are tracked, traced, monitored, surveilled through legislations, unconstitutional legislations such as the FISA, which is the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. It was originally designed to govern foreign threats, possibly. It has since been extenuated through overreach of authority by a tyrannical system to include citizens of the United States, like myself, law-abiding citizens, anyone whose name is thrown as a suspicion by the elite can become a victim with the quickness without substantial evidence or probable cause. You can become a victim, as the scriptures say. One day you're free, the next day you're encompassed or gang stalked about by the iniquities of your heel, meaning people who are beneath you, morally, ethically, spiritually, etc. These are low lives that are willing to destroy another's lives underneath a false pseudos notion. People who call good evil and evil good, but it says in verse 5, why should we fear in these days of evil? These are evil days when we're being surrounded by people who seeks to destroy us. Verse number 6 says, they that trust in their wealth. This would be those of the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations and all that accompanies that, such as your Bone and Skull, your Council of Foreign Relations, your Bilderbergers, Council of 300, and the list goes on. Your Masonic orders, your Rosicrucians, etc. These are very secretive groups across the entire world that has this evil strand of DNA to produce evil naturally. They cause wars, economical collapse, misinformation, social divides, and the list is exhaustive. But verse number 6 goes on to say they have wealth, and that's what they trust in, their fiat currency. You know, they take away the real wealth, which is like the land, the food, things that you naturally have access to as being a citizen of the earth. You know what I mean? And then they replace it with a synthetic system, and they make you pay to have access within that synthetic system. It's called fiat currency. They take away your land and they give you a mortgage, which is part of like the Safe and Fair Mortgage Act. Continuing, but they trust in their fiat currency, as verse 6 says, and boast in themselves and the multitude of their riches. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to the Most High Yah a ransom for him. Meaning that when the Most High come to make these low down dirty bastards pay, their money's not going to do them any good. Number 7 says, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give the Most High a ransom for him. For the redemption of their souls is precious, and it cease forever. They've lost their souls in this system, these soulless demonic individuals who perpetrate these crimes against humanity. And this is the state of America. They do control the world. How do I know that? Because in the scriptures, and I'll get it here. If I can find it. 'Cause, I know it's in the book of Job. All right, so the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, and it says, the earth, this world system, has been given into the hands of the wicked. Those are the offsprings of the fallen. These are those of corrupt DNA. You would call them psychopaths in the social science of things. They are clinical psychopaths. They crave power, control. They want to be like God, as it is spoken of in the book of Genesis, chapter 3. They want to play, they want to be like God, and that's what Satan offers them in his false system, is a pseudo sense of being like God. And it says they covered the faces of the judges, um, which means that the ability to judge righteously is blinded from them. They don't know come here from Sikkim. I did see the presidential debate, and let me tell you, it was chaotic. And I'll get into that in just a second, soon as I get this barking dog who's disturbing the neighborhood now. Not sure what's gotten into my dog, but I'll get into that. And also, there was someone who had some sort of issue. They changed their screen name often. I believe it's now the FBI is coming for Trisha Jerome or whatever. If I went to their page and left a comment, if they're in this live stream, please come on. I will be sharing the link. You're more than welcome to come on and state your case. I want to have an adult, mature conversation with you so that we can get matters settled. I'm not sure what your problem is. Maybe it's with, it seems to be with the content creator, Trisha. Let me tell you, I am me. And if you have a problem with someone, you don't, you know, have to create some sort of league against that person and try to attack anyone you believe is associated with that person. I don't know any of y'all. I've never met any of y'all on this live stream, unless you're probably family, friends, or you live in my area and you just so happen to have subscribed to this channel. But other than that, I don't know any of y'all. You know what I mean? And the only one I stand with is the Most High. So if you're on His side, then you and I are on the same side. If you're on the side of wickedness and chaos and all this sort of just childishness, I, I I'm not with it. Just take that elsewhere, and it'll be best that you keep me out of your conversations, and we can sail past each other like ships in the night. And that's pretty much my take on that. If you guys give me just a moment, I will be returning shortly. I am going to put the live stream in there. If you guys want me to share that link, put a one in that in the chat, and I will send a private invite. That way, the link isn't corrupted by professional hackers of the FBI, and that's where we are nowadays. Is the Federal Bureau of Investigation is hacking people's live stream. As a matter of fact, there was a Supreme Court case. I can pull it up. It was the Supreme Court ruled in the Murphy versus Missouri trial, and we'll discuss that in just a moment. Get in your cage. 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 All right, so hopefully I'm unmuted right now. I do apologize for the interruption, but I had to discipline my dog. They're like children. I'm not sure if you guys heard it before, but repeating what I just previously stated, the enemy will try to use anything in order to distract from a word of truth, edification, um, affirmation that goes forth in order to bring life into someone. So, as I was previously stating, on Wednesday, the Supreme Court ruled in the Murthy versus Missouri, the state of Missouri, that individuals and state plaintiffs uh, in the case did not have standing to seek a preliminary injunction against the federal executive branch officials and agencies over the official communication with social media companies about the spreading of misinformation online. So basically, what this case entails is it comes from uh, the Biden administration putting forth efforts to call on platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube to remove user posts that contain information, whether it was misinformation, lies, or just truths that could harm their presidential election. Um, and from YouTube. So a lot of content creators are on thin ice right now, including myself, because you got to watch what you say concerning the C-19 and the presidential election, because that will remove your, have your channel revoked and removed and so forth. So you guys should look that up. That's the MURTHY versus the state of Missouri. The Supreme Court did make a decision on that. So in the days following up to the presidential election, channels will be removed and revoked without probable cause. That's censorship on your First Amendment. And this is something that the people should be concerned about. If you don't have the liberty to live in the protected constitutional rights as a citizen, then what do you have? You have communism. You have a state that wants to control the thought process of the people. That is MK Ultra. And that is why I thought that more would get into the books that I've been going over, such as the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. I did remove those videos because a lot of people uh, just was appalled by the truth that was going forth, and most people want to be entertained instead of informed. But one of the dark psychological manipulation tactics of these psychopaths running our country is uh, mass manipulation. And how do they do that? Is by media. All right, so here goes. Just going to read it. One of the most powerful weapons used by rulers to manipulate people is distraction. While they're distracting you on one thing, you're worried about what's going on with Megan Thee Stallion and the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. You're being distracted. Laws are being passed, and these puppet masters are making moves that affect you and your family uh, intimately. But it goes on to state this um, manipulation tactic is distraction, continually shifting the attention to less than important trivial news um, allows diverting the entrance from much more vital issues as they are decided by political and economic lobbies to pass into the background. So while it's a musician's trick, while you're being distracted by the glitz and the glamour and the flash and the, ooh, check this out, um, scenarios, more important things are happening in the background, such as the Supreme Court ruling on the Murthy versus Missouri. Most people are not informed about, um, and so forth. And we got to be on our P's and Q's, you guys. But I see subscribers are coming in and out of the live chat. If you can, whatever that lady name is that mentions me in her channel, if you guys can go to her page and let her know that I am live, and I will share the link, and we can have an open, mature conversation on whatever it is that she's got going, because she seemed to have some mental, emotional instability going on there. I don't know this lady from a dry bag of rice. Um, However, my name continues to pop up in her mouth. I'm not sure if she's some sort of obsessive, deranged admirer or what the deal is. But I would like to know. So if she can come here and we can hash it out like an adults, then so be it. Uh, she changed her screen name so often, so I don't know what the title of it is now. I know that whenever I got the link, it was sent to me, and at that time it was called "The FBI is Coming for Trisha Jerome." So that's a weird screen name title to have. It sounds very much so like one of those uh, perks of the Gangstalking program, if you ask me. So that's just way too much time and attention to be focusing externally on someone who don't affect you directly. Now, on the other hand, these deep state agents of chaos, they're making laws, economical changes, etc., that is affecting you directly. And I didn't see any addressment of that. You know, people can hate me all they want, but unless they have the power and authority to affect my life in a negative way, I'm not concerned about them. they're a cockroach, um, you know, just looking for crevice to get in, as far as I'm concerned. And all this is a result of the design, manufactured social chaos that followed the nine. Well, I can't even say that on here, but a certain event in September 2001. Let's just put it that way. Whose goal is to create a nationwide system of vigilantes. These are the lawless spoken of in the book of Second Thessalonians chapter 2. People who don't live by the laws, they create their own rules, um, and so forth. Not even the Constitution. They don't abide by the law of the Most High, and they don't abide by the law of the land. Now, as believers, we believe that as long as the laws of the land are moral and don't conflict with the laws of the Most High, they're to be abided by. The only time that they are to be challenged is when they go against the grain of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and so forth. But these vigilantes, and this is what's going on, is these secret militia groups have been formed underneath the auspices of national security, much like the secrecy police transpired in East Germany and um, communist Russia. It's happening here in the United States of America. We're infected and infested with vigilante groups that use psychological manipulation and the guides of national security and mental health to cover their tracks. But this is the architect's goal, is to create a nationwide system of vigilantes who do not think for themselves but follow orders. The evildoers are U.S. paid defense contractors, private army of shooters, not thinkers. These people are mercenaries. They're hired mercenaries. Once they receive any sort of gratuities, payments, etc., uh, uh, as a compensation for their militant actions, they've just fit the definition of mercenary. That's what they are, hired mercenaries. The network is ran by contractors and by the Department of Homeland Security's 78 fusion centers. They have 78 of these fusion centers across the United States of America. And the propaganda, that false ideology, the dark psychology that motivates them is that propaganda is that they are fighting terrorism, and they have a large budget in order to achieve this. As a matter of fact, I was going through some research, and there's an astounding amount of funding that goes towards this program and national defense. It's unprecedented in the history of a nation. I believe the U.S. 2024 budget is approximately $1.6 trillion. Now, 886 billion of that budget is toward defense, toward foreign and domestic defense. This is what is being utilized in order to fund this citizen army that is attacking us. Now, the remaining budget, which is a lesser portion, goes towards education, infrastructure, healthcare, etc. That means they care less about your education, less about your healthcare, less about your social security retirement benefits, and much, much more than they do about this war against the people. Their number one concern, there's a saying, put your money where your mouth is. Like, you can tell where their attention, their efforts, and their concerns is by just following the dollar, following where they spend their money, and where they spend their money is, defense. Who are they defending against? They're defending against us. The people are at war against a tyrannical system, believe it or not. And you guys can look that up. It goes on. All right. So here's an excerpt from an unknown author. And this is what it says. In order to understand the large historical, political, and military counterintelligence, that's the COINTELPRO, which was a racist based government funded guerrilla style clandestine warfare against the black community. Go look it up. A very shameful juncture in U.S. history, but true. Counterintelligence context for these heinous and highly illegal operations, I suggest first reading the Army Intelligence Officer Julianne McKinney's article. And this is from intelligence officers' memoirs. It's called Microwave Harassment and Mind Control Experimentations. And this was published back in 1994. So the directed energy attacks are nothing new. They have been using microwave. They have since transitioned to millimeter wave weapons through the 5G, 6G technologies that is much more effective in long range forensicless attacks against the people. This is why I do suggest, once again, that you guys invest in EMF, electromagnetic frequency detectors. I keep mine handy all the time, but you definitely should invest in something like this. This way you know when the weapons are being utilized, when the frequencies are at a carcinogenic rate, which means they can cause cancer and other fatal harm to the body, whether it be an acute attack, which means they can instantly give you a heart attack, an aneurysm, etc., or if it be a slow kill process, which means it takes place over time. You've been exposed to these frequencies, these depopulation new age weaponry over a long period of time. It can cause cancers in the body. A lot of people are dying from issues, terminal issues, and they believe that it's just a natural result of life. Let me tell you, according to my personal faith, not religion, because I don't do religion, but my personal faith, our Messiah came to give us life, a gift from the Most High, creator of all existence, life, and that with abundance. There's no sickness and disease in that. If you are experiencing, it's because there's an enemy, a shadow government behind the scene that seeks to kill, steal, and destroy, and they work for the satanic elite forces. The future of America and the current state of America is chaos, and the future state is just more chaos. I did mention, and I wanted to go into the presidential election. Unfortunately, due to this new Supreme Court decision, my platform is in jeopardy of being banned as a result of giving you my once over on the matter. I will say this: on one side, at both sides looked at scary. On one side, you have someone who's very dominant and controlling, and on the other side, you have someone who is suffering from, possibly, because they got to inject that, dementia of some sort. Uh, and it was quite obvious. Now, you guys, I'm not here to um, coach your decision on the matter, but it's available for public consumption. You do have the right to be informed. So go watch it for yourself and derive your own opinion. Continuing, but in 1994, Army intelligence officer McKinney gave this report in an article called Microwave Harassment and Mind Control Experimentations. And remember, these are records that they have sealed for years. You guys should get a book called Trends, The Formation of America. It is the true life story of a mind controlled slave by the name of Kathy O'Brien. And this book is just mind blowing. The atrocities that have happened have been sealed underneath the guise of national security. Kabashes in the building saying shalom, shalom, shalom. Um, and this um, truth is the light that allows people to see things as they are and not as they appear to be. Because I can't go dive in deep, but we know what's going on. I just got to be careful with my words and how I address certain matters. It says McKinney. Now they're starting to target their own. McKinney has been a targeted individual herself for many decades and understands the larger system as well as anyone. The presentation below of organized gang stalking, what you need to know, also occurs as a YouTube presentation, which they've long removed. All right, so there's many level of the low level perpetrators, which we call gang stalkers, of course, are just following strips given to them by their handlers or superiors, thus are literally bad actors. Eventually, due to the generously lousy quality of acting, low-level street perps, of the low-level street perps, I believe many targeted individuals will begin to distinguish between gang stalkers or perpetrators and non-perps. They will learn to recognize the setups, street theaters, when they're trying to entrap you, when they're trying to create some sort of false narrative about you. You'll begin to notice that and will find ways to either document for the types of overt operations described in the following article. And this is something that I had learned earlier on in my assessing the situation, so to speak, is that it involved what they call hyper interrogation. This is when they take people from your workplace or just random perps and they create a situation for you to interact in order to have conversation or gather information or create some sort of, publicity, false publicity narrative through the means of their regional information sharing app by phone. So the camera phone has become weaponized against the people who just want to be free, people who just want to live right and do the right thing, people that they see as threat against the current establishment of tyranny across the world. And it is a global NWO, not just here in America. This thing is global. Uh, Continuing, organized gang stalking, also known as call stalking, organized vigilante stalking, stalking by proxy, community-based harassment, covert war are essentially harassment and discrediting campaigns. Let me repeat this. All this stuff, them calling your family behind your back, creating false investigations, all these various uh, tactical advancements against your life are merely harassment and discrediting program. They want to harass you, to cause you mental anguish, to counterintelligence, to discourse you off your current intellectual drive and spiritual purpose, and of course discredit you, because when you're credited and you're beloved in your community, you have a power that they cannot control, which is the ability to influence. And they don't want that. Anyone with influence, they fear. A lot of the leaders that was assassinated under the COINTELPRO didn't have money. They were poor, so-called minorities that had one thing going for them: the ability to influence the minds of the people. And when you can wake people up, that's a problem for the masters of lullaby, those that want to lure you to sleep with their uh, dark psychological manipulation tactics. They want you to be focused on the housewives of Timbuktu, not who's gang stalking you, etc. So it goes on to say this crediting campaigns waged against a targeted individual or enemy of the state, which is what they've done to me. Citizens and neighbors are recruited to participate, often from extremist groups and cults. Now, the two groups that they initially and used long term for me was the the Rainbow Committee, and the white supremacist racist sectors. Those and to a large extent, they've included um, the ninjas, the low down dirty, cotton picking house ninjas, as well, the sellouts, the soulless demonic ninjas, to participate as well. But the largest part of that group was the homosexuals. Now, I've said it time and time again. I don't agree with their lifestyle. As a matter of fact, I consider it an effort of love. I don't want nothing to do with that. Don't bring it my way. But if you ask or you force my opinion on the matter, I believe that I am sharing love by saying you should turn from that, because at the end of that road is the pits of hell. And in order to save your soul, you better ask for repentance and turn from that lifestyle. As a matter of fact, it's not natural to live that lifestyle. It's not a natural um, response of a human being to be attracted to the same sex. As a matter of fact, it would lead to the total extinction of the human population if everybody lived that lifestyle, because you can't reproduce. But the mastermind manipulators behind this want to depopulate the world. And in order to ensure the depopulation derates persist, they don't want repopulation. So what do? Planned Parenthood, and they promote this homosexual agenda. If you go to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union website, you'll see that it have discourse from racial justice and equality to being primarily focused on same-sex, transgender rights, etc. That means that even the systems or the so-called civil institutes that we have in place to um, checks and balance tyranny against racial and religious, uh, factional injectures have been compromised as well. And we should be fully aware of this. Why are they promoting this? Well, there's an article called Make Love Not War by the Washington Times, I believe, the Washington Post, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's the BBC News and the Washington Post called Make Love Not War, Gay Bomb article. And on that, you'll see that the U.S. Department of Defense have designed biological warfare in order to turn the citizens of the United States gay. And I believe that the majority of the Rainbow Committees are victims of biological warfare more so than anything. And then on the other hand, there's the racial um, extremist groups that they use to attack me, which I will say, as I've said time and time again, I have nothing against any other uh, race of people or creed of people. Uh, I don't care if you're white, black, brown, yellow, green, blue, whatever. I look at the character and the content of the heart, not the skin on the outside. If it, I either see good or evil, but I am against racism, not against white people, but against white supremacy. Those are ideologies. Those are the attitudes and thought processes that promotes heinous behaviors, repressive behaviors, and actions against other groups of people. I am against that, not against white people, as well as I'm against the same actions, notions, and behaviors from blacks, Asians, and any other person who could be used as a meat suit for the satanic spirits that want to promote hatred, envy, jealousy, oppression of any sort, and so forth. So I have been known to speak out against racism, police brutality, and other forms of injustice, which this country have had a long history since its inception, um, and so forth. So this problem didn't start with me. It existed long before I was born, long before my father was born, long before my grandfather was born. It persisted since the formation of the United States of America. And it's a problem that anytime you shed light on it, you might get attacked. But these are the least of our concerns. Our major concern is the fact that it's only a small group of people. As a matter of fact, for you white people, I want you to listen up. You so-called white Americans, please listen up. Listen to your boy MTAC. This is real talk. The battles between the bloodlines of the white goes back to biblical times. As a matter of fact, Pastor Darby has a message called Zion versus Rome. Very intricate, and I believe you guys should definitely go explore it. But it's essentially whites killing whites. I won't go back to the Roman Empire days or to the Grecian Empire days. I'll bring it a little bit more modern, and I'll say the American Revolution was started because the blue bloods or the royal elite bloodlines that rule the world was oppressing the so-called, and please don't be offended, rednecks, taxing them. They've done it over in Europe, and then once they excommunicated them to what was to them the new world, where they invaded um, and retermed this continent called America, they continued the oppression. As a matter of fact, the history of the state of Georgia was they were exiling the so-called rednecks to Georgia because those were overpopulated prisons in Europe that was being relieved of the population crisis. They were, it's just is, right? So once the I could go as far as to say the human bloodline of whites uh, got enough numbers to rise up against the uh, elitist blue blood powers. They knew a revolution was going to ensue. And what they did to you guys was they tricked you. They gave you false revolutionary leaders the same way that they've COINTELPRO and created false leaders for the black community. They did that way back against y'all as well. They gave y'all masonic homosexuals like George Washington and so forth. Um, what was his name? Um, J. Allen Burr, and much, much more. Thomas Edison, all these Bahamian Grove um, child pedophilic leaders that were blue bloods themselves, they gave to y'all, and y'all thought they were fighting for y'all when it was just a deeper form of mind control. The blue bloods just, they said, hey, they're going to rise up against us, so we got to do what is called damage control or control the outcome of the chaos, right? It's like uh, burning a fire, right? If the fire is going to start and there's nothing you can do about it, then you might as well create the burning perimeters of that fire, control chaos or population control to some extent. So they gave y'all false leaders, and they've been controlling y'all and manipulating y'all ever since. And they take poor white people who don't have money, who's distressed about their life, and they weaponize the ideal of race um, as a control mechanism, etc. And patriotism and religion, etc. They have been mind controlling y'all for quite some time, as they have the black community as well. And I could go deeper in depth about that and be more specific and actually pull up the facts and show you that I'm not just speaking off the top of my head. If I say something, I can prove it. I mean, I have the time to, but it's the reality of it. But continuing, um, with this paragraph. All right. So citizens and neighbors are recruited to participate, often from extremist groups and cults, but also from among employees. So I worked for a Fortune 500 company called Schneider and Modal, which was infested and infected with homosexuals, human traffickers, CIA, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, and the worst um, mafia groups. It was Schneider is a Zionist mafia. I mean, criminal mafia with a lot of money, Fortune 500 multi-billion-dollar family. And I actually worked for them at the initial phase of my stalking, or the overt portion of my stalking. They stalked me relentlessly. They attacked me. They tortured me. I've been drugged. I've been beaten, and I had things that I would love to present in the court of law as a motion of justice against these tyrants. Um, I had these things happen to me and continue to happen to me. My phones are monitored to this day. Family members and others are being brought in on false investigation reports. And they refuse to deny me freedoms and constitutional protection, one of which is my 13th Amendment, which protects against slavery and the elements of slavery, such as my mother have the right to name me whatever she want to name me. But this racist system, and to be a racist, you have to have power and the ability to influence someone else's life oppressively or repressively. So you take prejudice measures and you couple that with the power and the finance and the authority to be able to inflict harm on someone's life negative way, and you have racism. If you don't have the power to influence someone's life in a negative way, then you just can be a prejudiced nuisance against someone, but they still can live a life full of liberty and happiness pursuit. But those that I speak of that are at the top of this pyramid chain attack against my life, they're racist, systematic racist, and they've been attacking me for years. And they were indeed on my job site. So they're recruited among employees. Coordinated psychological warfare attacks consist of stalking. These are the coordinated psychological warfare attacks that consist of stalking. That's to make you paranoid. Noise campaigns. This can cause sleep deprivation. It can also be distracting from you being able to meditate and focus on things that you would like to achieve and ascertain in life. Usually they would do this while would be reading or attempting to regroup for the next day. They would do noise campaigns, and they still do from time to time. Sensitizing, this is where the color coordinations or coughing comes into play. And the spreading of, look, check this out, lies and rumors. That's what they do. And they do it in a very subliminal way. It don't, it's like, the way that they do it, it's like harming your character through lies and rumors, but in a way that it don't come off as you're trying to harm this person's reputation through falsehood. But it is psychological warfare, and the lies and rumors are a part of it and are executed in an effort to virtually neutralize and destroy the victim. That's what they want to do. They want to neutralize you, and they want to destroy you, your reputation, your influence, your trajectory of purpose. Using people from all backgrounds, vocations to harass, track 24/7, sometimes organize lethal vehicle accidents, poisoning, electronic harassment, home invasion, property destruction, corruption, or ignorant doctor diagnosis. Corrupt or ignorant doctor diagnosis. This is when they diagnose you with something that is completely pseudo or false. They may say you're schizophrenic, you're bipolar, you're paranoid, etc. These doctors are compromised. And this is all part of the program, giving to stamp the victim as bogus, mentally ill, with delusion, paranoid, or schizophrenia, etc. Everything is done covertly and with a sophisticated real-time dispatching system to organize the criminals' harassment and attacks. Often in the hundreds to thousands of criminals participating as a coordinated mob or mafia at any given time, while the criminals do their normal routines of work, shopping, commuting to and from work, leisure, etc., using the method of moving foot and vehicular surveillance techniques. So you have mobile and static, you have foot patrol, and you have vehicular control. This is the current state and the future of America, which is going to ultimately lead to its destruction. Every other system that have followed this course have been empires that no longer exist, or at least they don't exist in its previous form. It's been destroyed. All right, so vehicular surveillance techniques in computers, cell phones, verbal and visual cues, every other conceivable type of communication. All right. Now, if you guys are in the building, press a 1. I probably should digress because we're just over 5 minutes. But press a 1 if you want me to continue. And if you guys want to join in, put a 1 in the live stream. I will share the link and we can discuss. If not, I will be closing in approximately 5 minutes or less. Often the local network of this mob is connected to a national and international network. So this thing is international. It's big, you guys, is what they're saying. When the target travels, the local network will follow the target to the next city or town. When the target arrives, and it don't matter if you go to another country, they'll be there too. When they arrive there, the network at the networking that location will stalk, follow, and harass the target in that city or town. So when you arrive there, they're just passing the baton. The next person will pick up and start running where the other left off. Organized gangstalking, also known as organized gangstalking, community harassment, community stalking, is a systematic form of control. So I talked about systematic racism briefly, but this systematic form of control, which is got no color barriers, etc. It's just a satanic system. That means there's measures in place. There's legislations in place. There's a literal system in place. And as you guys can see, my dog is just crying for attention. It's a system, you guys, and it's already in place. It's in motion. And I'm going to digress for the time being because he's not going to stop that whining until I let him out his cage, unfortunately. But hopefully this will have been edifying. Hopefully it's been edifying for you guys, and hopefully in the upcoming live streams, we can go deeper in depth because we're dealing with some real issues. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a whole lot of fakes and snakes that have infiltrated the so-called community of victims of this crime, and their job is to discredit what we've gone through and what we continue to go through. Their job is to distract from, just like this dog is distracting me. I do apologize. Hey, I'm gonna need you to shut up while I close out this video. All right. So anyway, their job is to distract from the seriousness of what has happened and what continues to happen. There's no stopping a boulder once it starts coming down the mountainside. Only thing you can do is get out the way until it crashes at the bottom. And that is essentially what the U.S. is snowballing towards, rock bottom destruction, morally, ethically, economically, spiritually, etc. We're on a downward spiral, and if you are interwoven and your life is tied up in the American system and not the kingdom of Yah, you will be destroyed along with the United States of America and the world um, network of corruption. So next time, you guys continue to stay woke, continue to stay in the word, and I promise you, you will be blessed. Your boy MTAC, as always, has got to be his out.